Hello everyone! Back when I released the first episode of Trackmania Science over a year and a half ago, I already had an idea for the second episode. That idea was even mentioned in one of the top comments and I replied saying that I'm planning to make a video about it, but I don't yet know when it will come. So well, looks like it's about time now. In today's video I will try to answer the question, how long can you stay in the air in Trackmania? Before we start, I have one little disclaimer. For this particular case, we will be looking at the stadium environment from Trackmania Nations Forever, which is probably the most popular game from the series. The reason I mention that is because the stadium environment is so great that developers decided to release it 6 times under different games, but we will not talk about any of the other ones for now. So, I have started by posting a message about my research on few Trackmania related Discord servers, hoping that some other big brains from the community will help me answer the question. The only rule I stated was that the car's flight starts as soon as you stop touching the hitbox of any block and ends when you once again touch any kind of other hitbox. There are some places where the textures don't match the actual hitbox and you can pretend that you are stuck in the air forever, while in reality you are touching the blocks, it just doesn't look like it, and that obviously does not count. Over the years, people probably thought about that question countless times. You can find numerous videos titled Trackmania Biggest Jump or similar to that, and most of them just show a long booster line and a ramp at the end. And this is exactly how the first solutions I received in my DMs looked like. Just few minutes after I posted, I was already contacted by 2 people showing an idea that was as simple as it gets. Take the most speed you can, jump vertically up to the sky, and wait for the car to fall down. Funny Oscar managed to get a flight of 24 seconds and Soft managed to get a flight of 25.7 seconds. But this was just a start and both of them already knew it's not anywhere close to the possible limit. If you have watched the first episode of Trackmania Science, you should now be aware of this huge white space outside of the stadium area. In that video I stated that after around 1 minute of falling down, you can reach the landing at the bottom. A lot of players knew about that fact and started using that to their advantage. The next record was set by Gaming Boy with a flight time of 70 seconds, using very similar map structure, but this time landing at the bottom of the huge white hole. This is a big improvement compared to landing inside the stadium area. However, there was still one very important thing related to game's physics that he hasn't noticed. Let's take a look at these 2 seemingly identical replays. Both of the cars start falling down from the same height, but one of them reaches the grass much sooner. It turns out that the car will fall down much faster if you keep holding the acceleration while being in air. This makes a huge difference, so if you try to maximize your airtime, you first want to jump as high as possible, and in the critical point you want to stop holding the acceleration to fall down as slowly as possible. Now that the strategy seemed to be fully developed, it was all about building a map that will let you reach the highest speed, then reach the highest possible point in the air, and finally fall down outside the stadium area while not holding the acceleration. Both Funny Oscar and Soft improved their previous times using this exact strategy, but they both also used a different setup to start the jump. Soft's idea was still kept very simple. Place a lot of boosters and a regular ramp at the end. With this approach, he managed to get a flight time of approximately 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Funny Oscar tried a bit more creative approach. His map starts with much shorter booster line, followed by a small ramp, and then he forces a Uberbug to start his flight. This approach is much more random, as the outcome of the Uberbug is different with every try, and you would have to spend a lot of time waiting for the most worthy one. As a result, he didn't manage to beat Soft's time, and his flight lasted for around 3 minutes and 45 seconds. The same approach was used by Adrian. He managed to slightly improve Funny Oscar's time, ending his flight after 3 minutes and 46.5 seconds. It's worth noticing that his Uberbug started at the bottom of the mapping area. He could probably gain a few additional seconds if he placed his start higher. He also mentioned that he had one longer attempt, but he wasn't able to save the replay. Therefore, Soft's time still remained unbeaten. But more and more people started sending their attempts to me, some of them being further and some of them being closer to the limit. Nixion spent some time optimizing his idea and took the first place with a time of 3 minutes and 54 seconds with his double corkscrew map. As you could see, all of the times from other players were also not too far behind, being only couple seconds shorter. It would seem that without any new groundbreaking ideas, we would already have the approximate answer to the main question. But you have to know one thing. I only asked this question to the wider audience because I already knew the answer before it all started. And for my solution, I took a completely different approach. Get ready to probably be extremely disappointed and maybe a bit surprised as well. So yeah, all you have to do is placing the downhill checkpoint block, and then once you cross it, you press enter to respawn back to the checkpoint line. The respawn position is placed slightly above the block itself, so if you continuously keep on pressing the respawn button before your car touches the platform, you will be able to levitate for as long as you wish. It takes about 0.2 of a second for the car to touch the ground, so you also have to be pretty quick with mashing your keyboard. So, technically speaking, the answer to the question, how long can you stay in the air in Trackmania, is you can stay for as long as you wish. Big shout out to Delayed Club, who was the only person that actually figured out the plot twist before I made this video, and also big thanks to everyone who sent me their attempts. If you wanna take your part in future videos like this, I decided to create a Discord server, which I will use to keep everyone informed about other community projects that I will be organizing in future. Also, if you are interested in playing the checkpointless and reverse campaigns that I host in the new Trackmania game, that will also be a place to join. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have some good ideas for future episodes, feel free to share them in the comments. But for now, that's all I wanted to show. See you next time and have a nice day. Goodbye.